In 1937, a brilliant Italian physicist published a paper about particles that broke the rules of reality. These particles were their own evil twins. Matter and antimatter rolled into one impossible package. Then, 1 year later, the physicist vanished without a trace. His disappearance remains one of the science community's greatest unsolved mysteries. But there's a twist. The same particles that may have driven a genius to vanish could be about to change everything we know about quantum physics. This is the story of Ettore Majorana, a man who became a mystery and a particle that embodies it. So, who was he, really? Not just a genius physicist, but a much messier, more complicated figure. Born in Sicily in 1906, Majorana came from a family of overachievers. He started in engineering, but switched to physics, trading bridges for breaking the laws of reality. By the early 1930s, he was working with quantum royalty. Heisenberg in Leipzig, Bohr in Copenhagen. He was that good. Here's the uncomfortable part. He also joined Mussolini's National Fascist Party in 1933. Not just passively, but with letters praising Hitler's policies and anti-Semitic reforms. A genius, yes, but also a man shaped by the darkest politics of the time. When he returned to Rome later that year, something had cracked. He developed chronic gastritis and what we now recognize as anxiety or depression. He barely left the house for 4 years, writing advanced papers he never published, quietly unraveling the universe while seemingly unraveling himself. So by the time of his disappearance, we had a reclusive physicist with brilliant ideas, disturbing political ties, and fragile mental health, living in a Europe on the brink of war. What could possibly go wrong? Picture this. It's 1930s Italy, and physics is going through its superhero origin story. Einstein's rewriting gravity. Quantum mechanics is breaking everyone's brains. And in Rome, there's this group called the Via Panisperna Boys, basically the Avengers of physics, led by Enrico Fermi. Among them was Ettore Majorana. Fermi himself considered Majorana a genius, which is like Mozart calling someone musically gifted. Fermi later said about his colleague,
Ettore was too intelligent. If he has decided to disappear, no one will be able to find him.
In 1937, Majorana hypothesized a new type of particle, one that would make particle physicists question everything they thought they knew about reality. He called them Majorana Fermions, and they were absolutely bonkers. In a strange way, the particle mirrored the man, a contradiction in form, existing somewhere between presence and absence. In normal physics, when a particle meets its antiparticle, they annihilate each other in a flash of energy. But Majorana particles are different. When they meet their antiparticle, which is themselves, they don't explode, they just exist. It's like having an argument with yourself and somehow winning. The scientific community's reaction? Basically, that's impossible, but also prove it. Fast forward to March 1938. Majorana had just been appointed to a prestigious professorship at the University of Naples. He was 31, brilliant, and had his whole career ahead of him. Then he vanished. It's believed that he traveled from Naples to Palermo on the Città di Palermo steamer on March 25th, but he has not been seen since. No body, no trace, just gone. Or was he? That same day, he also finally collected several months of unpaid wages from the university, money he had previously ignored, despite coming from a wealthy family. Why suddenly grab the cash? It feels less like a payday and more like escape funds. Majorana left a note in his hotel room addressed to his family before disappearing as well. While various versions of this message have been reported over the decades and the exact wording remains disputed among historians, the message was along the lines of the following.
To my family, I have only one wish, that you do not wear black. If you want to bow to custom, wear some sign of mourning, but for no more than 3 days. Afterwards, remember me, if you can, in your hearts and forgive me. Affectionately, Ettore.
That's it. No explanation, no goodbye, just a request that his family not mourn him in the traditional way. It's simultaneously considerate and absolutely chilling. Like he was saying, I'm leaving forever, but please don't treat this as a death. Earlier that day, Majorana had gone to the Naples Institute of Physics, even though he didn't have any lectures scheduled. There, he quietly handed a briefcase full of handwritten papers to one of his students, saying, "Hold on to these for me, and we'll speak later." They never spoke again. After being handed to a professor, they vanished in what one biographer called a hierarchical path, meaning the academic system basically black-holed them. Some believe those pages contained breakthroughs we still haven't rediscovered. Others think that was the point. He didn't just disappear himself, he may have buried his work, too. Maybe there was even a kind of burn-after-reading note among those papers for his most trusted colleagues to find. It's like he dropped a final equation into a black hole and sealed it shut. A mystery within the mystery. On Saturday, March 26th, the day after Ettore's alleged steamer trip, Antonio Carrelli, the director of the Naples Physics Department, received the following letter from Majorana.
Dear Carrelli, I made a decision that has become unavoidable. There isn't a bit of selfishness in it, but I realize what trouble my sudden disappearance will cause you and the students. For this as well, I beg your forgiveness, but especially for betraying the trust, the sincere friendship, and the sympathy you gave me over the past month. I ask you to remember me to all those I learned to know and appreciate in your institute, especially Shuti. I will keep a fond memory of them all at least until 11 p.m. tonight, possibly later too.
The next day, 2 telegrams arrived, presumably from Palermo, the destination of Ettore's steamer. One to his hotel in Naples, asking to hold his room, and a second addressed to Carrelli once again. It read,
Do not be alarmed. Letter to follow. Majorana.
An express letter did, in fact, arrive that day, with Majorana writing,
Dear Carrelli, I hope you received the telegram and letter together. The sea has rejected me, and I will return tomorrow to the Hotel Bologna, traveling perhaps with the same travel document. However, I intend to give up teaching. Do not take me for an Ibsenian girl because the case is different. I am at your disposal for further details.
That Palermo letter also included one of the strangest lines in the entire case, the line about Ibsenian girls. It's a reference to tragic heroines in Henrik Ibsen plays, women who end their lives in protest or despair. But Majorana insists that this isn't that. So, what is it then? A performance? A distraction? A final puzzle to decode? These letters have fueled decades of debate. Some read them as end-of-life notes. Others see them as the perfect cover story for someone planning to vanish completely. My own totally not based on factual evidence opinion is that he may have been running from something or someone. No further letters or telegrams arrive, so Carrelli reports Majorana missing on March 31st, 6 days after his steamer trip to Palermo. The resulting search was massive. Mussolini himself ordered the police to find him. Think missing persons case, but with dictatorial urgency and way more physics equations. Despite extensive efforts, Majorana's body was never found. And for the past almost 90 years, countless theories have been flying around about what may have happened to him. These theories range from plausible to absolutely unhinged. So let's dive in. Theory number 1, the nuclear nightmare. The great Sicilian writer, Leonardo Sciascia, was convinced that Majorana decided to disappear because he foresaw that nuclear forces would lead to nuclear explosives 1,000,000 times more powerful than conventional bombs. Think about it. Majorana worked with the same crew that would later build the atomic bomb. Maybe he did the math, saw Hiroshima and Nagasaki coming, and noped out of history. It's like seeing the trailer for a horror movie and deciding to stay home forever. Leonardo Sciascia's theory gained credibility because it was based on understanding Majorana's character. Someone who had shown reluctance to publish his groundbreaking work, suggesting he was already wary of the potential consequences of scientific discovery. Sciascia's investigation framed Majorana's disappearance as a metaphor for the moral responsibility of scientists for their discoveries, a debate that would become central to the atomic age. Theory number 2, the mental health crisis. Some believe Ettore Majorana may have ended himself due to the strain on his mental health. This theory is tragically plausible. Genius often comes with a side of existential dread. Supporting evidence includes the fact that he withdrew money before disappearing and left behind cryptic letters, behavior consistent with someone planning a final act. However, this theory is disputed by his family and religious advisors who knew him personally and firmly stood against the idea that he would willingly cross over. Some suggest Majorana simply got fed up with the world and his responsibilities in general and chose to live anonymously, like deleting all your social media accounts, but with your entire existence. Theory number 3, the Monastery mystery. There were also some people who believed that Majorana got bored of his work and became a beggar in an unknown city, or that he joined a monastery. Imagine going from, I understand the fundamental nature of reality, and also, I agree with fascists, to, I've taken a vow of silence. That's either enlightenment or the world's most dramatic lifestyle change. This theory gained support from those closest to him. His family and Fermi's wife Laura were among the few who favored this explanation. Even Majorana's priest, Monsignor Francesco Riccieri, supported the spiritual retreat theory and vehemently denied that he would have ended his own life. Theory number 4, the World War II crossover. Another theory, World War flavored, is that Majorana didn't just disappear, he defected. Some believe he may have been recruited or volunteered to share his nuclear knowledge with Nazi Germany. It's speculative, sure, but when it comes to missing physicists and rising global tensions, no theory gets left behind. This theory gained some traction because Majorana had previously worked in Germany and had expressed those unsavory ideals in the past, suggesting he might have been sympathetic to certain political movements. Is it possible that his show of intelligence in Germany piqued a certain crazed world leader? Would he have gone willingly, or would he have tried to escape Nazi Germany's grasp? Theory number 5, the time traveler's escape. Here's the most unhinged theory of all, that Majorana didn't just vanish, he time traveled. Given his obsession with quantum paradoxes, some have joked and some half-seriously suggested that he cracked reality itself and simply stepped out to another timeline. It's probably science fiction, but for a man whose life felt like a thought experiment, maybe that's fitting. Theory number 6, the self-imposed witness protection program. Others allege he faked his own death to escape Mussolini's persecution. Maybe he saw the writing on the wall and pulled the ultimate disappearing act. This theory got a serious upgrade in 2011 when the Rome attorney's office actually reopened Majorana's case. A witness came forward claiming they had met Majorana in Buenos Aires after World War II. Not just a random, "I think I saw him," but specific enough that Italian authorities took it seriously. The plot thickened when Carabinieri's forensic unit analyzed a photograph of a man taken in Argentina in 1955, finding 10 points of similarity with Majorana's face. 10 points of facial similarity is CSI-level evidence, not conspiracy theory territory. In 2015, the Rome Attorney's Office released a statement declaring that Majorana had been alive between 1955 and 1959, living in Valencia, Venezuela. The witness testimony was detailed enough that after decades of investigation, authorities officially closed the case that year, concluding that Majorana had made a personal choice to disappear and emigrate to Venezuela. This conclusion remains highly disputed among researchers and historians, though, with the evidence being largely circumstantial. And just to make everyone's head spin, another witness told Italian media that Ettore Majorana was living in Rome in 1981. So the official theory isn't just that he disappeared, it's that he spent decades hopping between Argentina, Venezuela, and possibly back to Italy, like a physics professor turned international man of mystery. Maybe he saw where things were headed, war, scientists being forced to work on world-ending weapons, and decided to disappear, complete with fake documents and a decades-long game of international hide-and-seek. The truth? We still don't know for sure. It's been nearly 90 years, and the mystery remains as unsolved as the equations Majorana threw away. He may have vanished, but his ghost is still haunting the frontier of science to this day. Here's the thing about mysteries. Sometimes the not knowing is more powerful than the knowing. Ettore Majorana disappeared, leaving behind only equations and questions. His particles exist in a superposition of real and imaginary. Maybe that's fitting. A physicist who disappeared into quantum uncertainty, leaving behind particles that exist in their own uncertainty. It's poetic in a deeply nerdy way. Did Majorana foresee the nuclear age and choose to vanish rather than contribute to humanity's potential destruction? Did he decide to defect and satisfy his darkest political motivations from the shadows? Was he captured? Or did he simply get tired of being a genius and decide to live a life of comfortable mystery instead? We may never know. But every time a quantum computer boots up, every time a Majorana particle is maybe detected, Ettore Majorana's presence is there in the equations. He predicted particles that are their own opposite. He became a person who was both everywhere and nowhere, famous and anonymous, present and absent all at once. In other words, Ettore Majorana became his own Majorana particle, a man who was simultaneously himself and his own mystery. And maybe, just maybe, that was exactly what he intended. If this story made you question reality, and also wonder if you could pull off disappearing for 90 years, hit that like button, subscribe for more mysteries that make your brain hurt, and drop a comment. What do you think actually happened to Ettore Majorana? Stay curious, and I'll see you in the next patch note.